All right, here we go. It's time for more Diablo 4 news updates straight from Blizzard and the dev team. In today's video, we're talking about unique rewards in PvP multiplayer. The character creator is getting updates. Devs confirm there's even more in-game than what has been shown so far, and respec costs have been revealed. Could it negatively impact the in-game, though? That's the biggest concern right now. I'll explain in just a moment. Now, remember, check out that pinned comment for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch giveaway. Check it out below. All right, so let's get straight into this. First and foremost, starting with this one right here from Pixel Ghost, who says, I cannot find a 100% answer. So going to try to ask you, Rod Ferguson, is PvP fully optional, or will we have to take part in it at some point for gear progression? That's a great question and a major concern within the community. Now, we have an initial response, which is going to be followed up by confirmation. So bear with me. Let's get into it. We have Hoo who says this: obviously, I'm not a dev, but of all the info I've soaked in to answer your question, yes, it seems optional. I'm sure there will be some cosmetic stuff that is only available in PvP, but I would assume they wouldn't lock a powerful aspect or unique behind PvP. You can avoid it. So, Rod Ferguson did reply and confirmed that yes, this is correct. So, it seems like PvP will in fact be offering unique exclusive cosmetic rewards, which sounds pretty cool to me, as long as it's not like the best looking gear ever and it's the only place to get the best looking gear is through PvP multiplayer. Then you start having a problem. But I see some of the reasoning why they would do this. I imagine they would want World Boss to be dropping exclusive looking gear, and then playing Helltide events have some exclusive stuff as well, and then spread it out throughout the world to really encourage you to explore. That's my assessment of how they're doing things with Diablo 4. Let me know how you feel about that. Post a comment down below. Now, let's get into this one. Eric Siri says, might there be a better character creator added, or are options in the battle pass only? More body options, faces, hairstyles. It would be better to have more diverse options as you play more seasons with the same class. Great question, and Rod Ferguson goes on to say this: we'll be adding more options over time. So it seems like the character creator is going to be improving as we go along through the lifespan of Diablo 4, but I do imagine that they will also have options in the battle pass for sure. Now, Steve Mills says this: my biggest question is, will Diablo 4 in-game offer a meaningful reason to keep playing besides endless repetition and power creep? A capped difficulty that makes finding good items a goal is meaningful in my opinion. Diablo 3 season gets stale quickly. Diablo 2 season, for example, does not. Alright, so let's get into the reply right here from Joseph Apora of Blizzard, who goes on to say this: I guess you'll also need to tune in and find out during our April live stream. Although, I will at least confirm that power is capped to ensure that players do find value in chasing those ancestral items in the endgame. In this progression is not the plan for Diablo 4. So there you have it. There's the answer. Let me know again how you feel about that one. But Stealthy goes on to say this: so during a QA, someone asked if there was more in-game than what you all have shown, and the answer was yes. There any truth to this? And we'll get into further confirmation as we go, so bear with me. Now, Joseph Papara goes on to say this: we'll find out together during the April live stream. I'll be joined by Riker and some other person to discuss our in-game features in significantly more depth. Some other person. Interesting. Now, I did some digging. I'm like, since when did they say that there was more in-game beyond what they have already shown? So I found a very recent interview through Wowhead, and they did get to ask the developers a bunch of questions, including this one right here. It says, future in-game content. Are there any planned in-game activities that you have not revealed yet? And the answer is yes. So we're going to be learning about what those could be. So apparently they've been actually holding back some information from us about the totality of the in-game and what we can actually expect in the entire overview of what this in-game actually looks like. So kind of curious. We'll find out during this April live stream. Now, furthermore, we have this one right here. As I don't have any friends, can I solo play this, or do I need to be in a party? And this seems to be a reference to the in-game, specifically this question. And Rod Ferguson goes on to say this right here: you can definitely solo it if you would like, or hey, make some new friends while taking down a local event or world boss together. And time and time again, I have heard this response with many different games I have covered, and it always ends up where in certain scenarios you have to have like a party of people together to defeat a boss. I hope that is not the case. We have seen with the beta where people were able to solo the world boss, but I feel like those people make up like 5% of the Diablo 4 community, the real hardcore number crunchers that are willing to put in the endless hours to really find the perfect build. So we'll see if this pans out to be true, if you can actually pull off soloing the entirety of this game. Alright, so yes, the most recent dev diary was very interesting and also received like 14,000 downvotes. Dear God, 11,000 upvotes, so I guess there's that. Now, they did showcase the respec costs for skills and the Paragon board, as you can see highlighted right here in this post. Refund costs of talents and Paragons from the recent in-game video, and you can see it costs around 105,000 gold to just refund the cold imbuement right there, and there was 2.6 million gold on hand by that player. What about actually refunding one node within the Paragon board? So check this out right here. It is going to cost you 53,666 just to refund one node. Now, let's dive into this a little bit more, shall we? So here's a reply from Evan Hero who says, that is nothing. There was a guy showing how to make 420,000 gold in 1 hour. Of course, those are beta numbers. Things could change in the future. Things will change. And then we have this right here as well. It says, that's nice. Spend one day farming gold instead of playing content just to respec completely once. And Mr. Holiday says, yes, 54,000 a point. Someone did the math. It's like 11 million to respec fully. 420k an hour is far from enough. It proves Blizzard is learning nothing. Stop gating talents and skills. So you can kind of get how people are very concerned that they're going to end up in the end game. They're going to be like, man, my build is just not powerful to get through this world boss, and I need to get to the next tier, and what I need to do is respec my character, and it just seems like it's impossible now. What I have to go do is actually just grind and grind and grind and grind, try to get as much gold as possible instead of just enjoying the actual content, the game itself. So that is the concern. Let me know if you guys are concerned about this one, or if you're up for the grind or not, or do you think they should have reasonable respec costs, especially when you get into the end game as well. Now, we have this one right here. It says, doesn't really mean anything without more content, or context, excuse me. That could be super expensive or negligible, depending on how player income works out in-game, especially when the community figures out the best farming methods. And a lot of people seem like, no big deal. It's not a concern. So I think people are ready to farm. Farm those legendaries, farm for uniques, and then also on top of it, you're probably just naturally getting gold. So I think they're adjusting the numbers in the back end. Blizzard is looking at what's going to happen with farming right now from the beta experience. So I'm curious to see, if someone does the math, how long it would take to farm total amount of gold required to respec your entire character at like max level. That's going to be the big question. All right, so we have Christian Johnson who says, any word on how builds that function around crowd control like chill, dazed, or stunned will work on bosses? Great question. Joseph Hora goes on to reply saying this. For most of the development, the answer was too well. At launch, those builds will still be viable in boss encounters, but it will be harder to chain stun states on the boss encounter. So it seems like they kind of watched some of the videos where the boss was taken down too quickly, and they've made adjustments to perhaps make the boss a bit tougher when the launch of the game actually happens. So I think that's a bit exciting, because I know a lot of people want a challenge with these bosses. That's what they're looking for, and there's been a lot of feedback there. All right, so let's keep going. Next one, it says, I bought Diablo 4 Ultimate Edition day one on Xbox. I want to also buy it on PS5 now to allow my son to use my Xbox while I continue Diablo 4 on the PS5 at launch. If I bought the base game on PS5, would I get Ultimate Edition benefits due to shared Battle.net account? Great question. Maybe this will help some of you out? And the answer is yes. So that is confirmed right there. So maybe that's going to help a few of you out for sure. All right, so now it is time to get into your top comments from my most recent video, which was this one right here. It says, "This is it, the news you've been waiting for, new gameplay, in-game PvP, and more. Check it out." Tons of new information in that video up on the channel. Yeah, let's get into what you guys had to say right here now. Uberkill goes on to say, Upworld Games is putting in the work for Diablo 4 news. Great job. I promise you guys I would have you in the know about this one. I got you guys covered. XJ25 says, I love how you're straight to the point and don't go off subject. I literally get on YouTube to see if you post a new update for Diablo 4. I don't know what to say, man. Seriously, thank you. I appreciate that. Vincent and Snowball says, was burned by Diablo 3, but they've seemed to have turned it into a decent game so far, and Diablo 4 looks pretty promising too. You know, despite, again, the issues that the game is facing, it's going to have a challenge, especially keeping the audience around for the years and years that they want to keep the audience around for. That's going to be the challenge, and that's what they're struggling with right now, especially from what we have seen from the reaction from that recent dev diary. Like, more than 50% downvotes. There either is miscommunication, bad marketing, or the in-game does actually suck. We'll have to wait and see with that one. But also, it seems like they're strangely withholding information about the in-game. Is it going to be enough to make us happy? That's going to be the question. Daniel goes on to say this right here. Random thing I noticed, you said that they haven't specified if Nightmare Dungeons change the layout or not, but dungeons seem to have a randomized layout with each run. They do use some very large core pieces to build them, so some areas do look the same, but if you ran any of the dungeons 3 or 4 times in a row during the beta, you could observe the changes pretty easily. I began to actually kind of take note of this. I was like, wait a second, is this the same dungeon? Especially when I played co-op with my twin bro. I'm like, Ryan, wait a second, isn't this the same dungeon we were just in? It felt so different, so I know what you're saying there. I personally think the dev team needs to come out and showcase this in a video, like actually have a standalone video just about the dungeons and, you know, how much the layouts actually can change and evolve. Then again, a lot of people are like, well, it's just like 3 or 4 different pieces put together. That's why they feel so similar. So I don't know if they're going to have some sort of update where they can actually add in more pieces or change up the look of certain pieces that are attachable within the dungeon. Because that would be cool if they pre-plan this and they're able to do something like that down the road where they're able to update piece by piece. That would be neat. Now, Diego says this, seriously, this in-game looks amazing, several different and relevant activities for all tastes. I thought it was cool that these activities encourage us to explore the open world instead of just repeating the same dungeon several times. A cool PvP system for those who enjoy PvP, bounties, exploration, etc. Looks like it's going to be very wait, I lost my place. Very dynamic and full of things to do rather than just one in-game activity. That's the best. And you have to keep repeating, looks like Diablo 4 is going to have a beautiful future and live for a long time. I sure hope so, man. You know, but so far, I think it's going in the right direction. When all's said and done, we'll see what happens with balancing. The end game will speak for itself, and we'll see if it's like completely redundant or not. But what they're offering here with the end game is just as you have said. In my opinion, the ultimate goal is to think, how do we get the player to explore every facet of the open world and jump into PvP, give that a shot? And it's through these systems that we're really now hearing about, for example, through PvP, where you get an exclusive reward that makes you want to dive in and check out that feature. Now, it's going to be very important that all of this is balanced and that you're willing to be able to say, oh, you know what, I really love Helltide events. I want to stay in Helltide events for the most part and experience those, and I shouldn't be punished for making that decision. That's going to be interesting to see if that's how the game pans out, if you can play it that way or not. Again, time will tell. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for the love and support on the videos. I greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned For more Diablo 4 news and updates, I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.